Hello, I'm Phyllis Eugenio. Welcome to this week's edition of JackTalk. I'm here with Nancy Vargas, the member of the Driving Jacks 5K committee. Thanks for joining us. How are you doing today?
Doing great. How are you?
All right, I just want to start things off with like a quick history of Driving Jacks. Can you just give us a brief history of them?
Okay, Driving Jacks got started in 2004 by a girl named Amy Shields. She was an SFA student here, and she went to Carpool to visit A&M, and she really liked what they were doing there, so she came back with the idea to SFA to get this started. Unfortunately, in October of 2004, she was hit by a drunk driver, and she was killed, and so from there it went to SGA, and her friends in SGA just really got it started in her memory. So we were part of SGA for a little bit. In 2007, we gave our first ride. That's how we got started.
Such a heartbreaking story, but it's so good to know that, you know, her story is being continued through Driving Jacks, which is a thriving organization here at SFA. So how long have you been a member?
This is my 5th semester as a member.
Wow, you must really like Driving Jacks.
I do. It's my 4th semester as an officer as well.
Wow. So Driving Jacks is having their 3rd annual 5K this year. Tell us when it is.
The 5K will be Saturday, April 12th.
Okay, what time does the race start?
The race starts at 8 a.m.
Where can runners sign up for this race? Is there a place online, or can they just, show up to the race and sign up?
Well, we have physical forms outside of our office in the 3rd floor of the Student Center, and they can also sign up at drivingjax5k.org. There's a bunch of information about the 5K, about Driving Jacks, and how to register on that site.
When is the last day they can sign up?
They can sign up at the race.
Okay, so it doesn't matter when, they got all the time to sign up?
They have until April 12th.
Okay, so how much does it cost to sign up?
Well, we have 2 options this year. It is a timed 5K color run, but you can also just run it for fun. So if you're just running, or we have a 3rd option, the hit the snooze button, which is kind of just to get a shirt and donate the $20 but not actually race. That costs $20, but for it to be a timed 5K, it'll be $25.
That's interesting. I like the hit the snooze button. That might be beneficial for someone like me. I don't know if I want to get up that early.
Right.
So where do all these proceeds go to?
They all go to Driving Jacks endowment account, which is to keep us moving forward and help us in years to come.
So what does Driving Jacks use the money for?
Driving Jacks, I don't know if y'all know, but we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, so we get no money. We have to rent our cars, pay for gas, insurance, and just things to keep us operating every weekend.
Wow. So tell us your position in the 5K committee, and what does that entail? What do you have to do?
Okay, well, I am head of the 5K committee for the students. The 5K is put on by alumni for the organization, but since most of our alum are not in Nacogdoches, it's really hard for them to get things done here in town. Mm-hmm. So I am head of the committee, and I just pretty much communicate between the alumni and the members.
Okay, so I've heard this year it's going to be a color run. What does that exactly mean?
It means that throughout the race, we're going to have 4 color stations, purple for SFA and lime green for Driving Jacks. And so just as you're running, you're gonna get color thrown on you pretty much.
Are those the only 2 colors, or are there going to be more colors?
No, it's just those 2 colors.
That's interesting. So is it wet or is it dry paint?
It's dry.
Okay. All right. So where does the race start? Is it on campus or is it off campus?
The race will start and end at the commuter lot. You're going to go through the Azalea trails and a little bit through campus, and then you're going to end back.
That sounds fun. I like going through the Azalea trails, and then by then it's going to, all the flowers will be blooming, so that'll look really pretty. Are there prizes for runners at the end? If so, what are some of the things they could win?
There are some prizes, just whether their age range and 1st and 2nd place and things like that. I believe that this year we're doing ornaments, Texas-shaped ornaments.
That's interesting. So how many runners do you think you'll have this year?
We're hoping to get 300 runners. That's our goal.
That's a lot. How does that compare to the last 2 years?
It's significantly more, but we've also been planning it for a lot longer. We've been working on it for months, so we really just want to make as much profit as we can.
All right, well, I wish you all the success in raising money for your amazing organization, and I will probably be out there running. I may do the hit the snooze button, but oh, well, I got a couple more questions before we head out. Are Driving Jacks the only people that can help volunteer? or can other people come out and volunteer?
No, we have other people helping as well. We have a class from AC Angelina College that's going to be out there helping us, and we also have a group of students or AKIO members that will be helping as well.
Okay, that's awesome. Would anyone out of the community be able to come and help, or is it just strictly those people?
I'm sure if they came up to us and they wanted to volunteer, we could find something for them.
Okay, so what else is going to be at the race? Are there going to be snacks at the end, or?
Yes, at the end we're going to have snacks, water donated by Walgreens, and we're also going to have a color fight.
A color fight? What? Okay, you got to tell me about that. What's the color fight about?
We're just going to have extra color for everyone at the end, and we're just going to throw color at everyone.
That's fun. So this dry paint, it's safe, I'm guessing, to throw at people, but...
Yes, it's cornstarch, colored cornstarch.
Okay, that sounds like a lot of fun. Like I said, I'm probably going to be out there running. Are you going to be out there running?
As a volunteer, I have to be out there coordinating everything.
Okay.
So I won't be running this year.
How many volunteers do you think you guys are going to have?
A lot. With it being a color run, we need a lot of people at every color station, so probably close to 60.
Wow, that is a lot. Are there going to be multiple water stations as well for these runners? Or?
Yes, there are going to be 2 water stations throughout the race.
Okay. And how long, just in case some people don't know, how long exactly is a 5K?
A 5K is 3.1 miles.
Okay, so that's not too bad. I think I could probably do that. All right, Nancy, thank you so much for joining us. That's all the time we have for today. Coming up, we have Hector Sanchez. We will be talking with Maya Lemon and Steven De Silva of Next Stop. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to JackTalk. I'm Hector Sanchez, and I'm here with Next Stop's Maya Lemon and Steven De Silva. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
How are you today?
Doing good.
Well, Maya, can you tell us a little bit more about what Next Stop is?
Next Stop is a grassroots organization of community members primarily centered in Nacogdoches County and the surrounding East Texas region. And we are working to make sure that our community is safe, and particularly focusing on issues related to the Keystone XL pipeline south.
Yeah. Well, I have a map here that shows the pipeline coming from Canada through Deep East Texas to Houston, and this pipeline is called the Keystone XL pipeline. It's been a big controversy. Can you tell us more about this pipeline?
Yeah, this pipeline, the pipeline that goes through East Texas, the Keystone XL South segment, connects a pre-existing pipeline that went from Alberta, Canada to Cushing, Oklahoma. And so now that the Keystone XL South has been built here through East Texas, tar sands oil has the opportunity to flow all the way from Canada down into the Gulf Coast. The Keystone XL pipeline that you often hear about in the news is a different Keystone pipeline. It's built by the same company, TransCanada, that will further tar sands transportation through the United States.
And Steven, I have a sign here that lights up a letter, and y'all use these to spell out words for a message about the Keystone pipeline. Can you tell us more about these demonstrations?
Yes, actually, back in the spring of this past year, we talked about ways that we could get our message across in using a different medium. And after doing some brainstorming, sitting together a number of community members, we decided that we would try to work up a light brigade. And in fact, we've established what we refer to as the Autonomous Light Brigade, and have done a number of demonstrations, displays, both here in Nacogdoches and elsewhere throughout the state, and also in Louisiana. And that's been one of the really nice things about, or the opportune things about doing the Light Brigade, is that we can take that message to a number of different places. Actually, out on the Keystone XL South easement, which we've done in a couple of places. We've been up to Dallas, where there was a Pipeline Hazardous Materials Safety Administration convention going on, where we displayed there as well. Another PHMSA convention in New Orleans, and also along the easement on various property owners' places around Winnsboro. Basically, the idea is to get that message across and to use the medium of lights to make it more dramatic.
Okay, and about a month ago, the Texas Governor Rick Perry announced that there is no environmental concern about this pipeline, and that Obama should approve it whenever he can. What's your opinion on this?
Well, I'm disappointed that there's an industry mouthpiece in the position that he's in, and actually, the pipeline itself has been shown to have a number of anomalies that have been repaired prior to even going into service. And the material that it's going to be carrying is so different from conventional oil. It's much more toxic, it's much more acidic, it's corrosive, and all we have to do is look at the effects on pipelines in Michigan, the Kalamazoo spill, in Mayflower, Arkansas, the Pegasus spill, and realize that we're talking about a totally different material. The potential for environmental damage in Nacogdoches County is much greater than what we see with other pipelines carrying a totally different kind of crude.
And Maya, this oil that's going through the pipeline is called tar sands, and people say it's one of the dirtiest oils in the world because it's so thick and dense. Can you tell us a little bit about what this oil can cause?
There's a lot of health impacts related to exposure, whether it's the fumes that come from it or it's very difficult to clean out of waterways. I think it's important for us to recognize that every social movement in the United States has had young people at the forefront leading the movement. And we have an opportunity right now to respond to changes that are happening to our world, and it's up to us as young people to be dynamic enough to respond to these changes and to create the world that we want.
Talking about young people, yesterday, a couple of students from a university went in front of the White House to protest against this pipeline, and 200 of them got arrested. How do you feel about young adults caring about the future of the environment?
Yeah, it's our obligation. This is the world that we have to inhabit, and I think that it's an important indicator that whatever Obama decides to do about the northern segment of Keystone XL, that we here in East Texas and many other folks around the United States and around the world will continue to resist tar sands. Tar sands is already having very severe environmental impacts on the health and safety of communities in Alberta and on the health and safety of communities down in the Gulf of Texas where they're refining it. And regardless of what's decided about the Keystone XL pipeline, tar sands oil is impacting people and needs to be stopped.
And Stephen, a lot of politicians say that there's 200,000 miles of pipelines throughout the United States. That one more pipeline is not going to affect the USA a lot more. What do you have to say about this?
Well, it's obvious that they're ignoring the facts of what's being carried or what will be carried in Keystone XL pipeline. Tar sands, again, is so different from anything else that's being carried in any other pipes across the country. So.
And Maya, do you think this is going to help our economy, or do you think it's going to help the economy of other countries?
I think that here in East Texas, we have to focus on how it's impacting us. And I think that the risk that our community faces with tar sands oil going through our community is reason enough to oppose this pipeline. This pipeline goes right near the Douglas School. There are children that are at risk right now from a pipeline that we know has problems with its construction. And so I think that for me, the economic things aside, I care about my community. And that's why I'm back here in Nacogdoches. I came back to organize around this issue because I feel it's important to advocate for my home and for others whose homes are not safe.
And real quick, Stephen, last question. Do you think the pipeline will cause a job boom in the United States, or do you think it's not going to really affect?
Well, again, I'm going to have to echo what Maya was saying. Our concern here in Nacogdoches County and along the route of the pipeline is long-term. It's not an immediate gratification thing of a few jobs here, a few jobs there. We're concerned with the environmental damage that can be done with a pipeline carrying tar sands pipelines that have been shown to have more problems because of the material that it's carrying.
Well, thank you so much, guys, for joining us today. Up next, we have Megan Chase and Kaylee Holch with Ari Tucker, a yoga instructor from Morning Glory. Stay tuned.
Downtown Nacogdoches. This studio seeks to help its members by straightening their body and mind by practicing the art of yoga.
The studio was actually opened when I was an employee of Morning Glory Natural Food, and that's how we got the name Morning Glory Yoga. Myself and a coworker were certified as employees under the natural food store, and then we opened the yoga studio. About a year later, I took over ownership of it. But how it came about is both myself and the other lady, Connie, really loved yoga. We were practicing it independently, and then I was practicing with a group of friends, and it was, I was seeing a lot of results in my life, physically, emotionally. So she and I we came to the owner at 2 different points in time in the same week and said, hey, have you ever thought about a yoga studio? And it just kind of worked out. We were able to get a grant through a city department, and they paid for our certification, and we opened the studio. And when I started teaching, I realized it's what I wanted to do, so it became my life.
Morning Glory likes to give back to the community by allowing a free class every Friday.
In addition to the free Fridays, we also have, every 2 months, we have a literary reading here, and often that involves SFA students that are affiliated with the English department, so they come and read original works of poetry or short stories. And so we don't only teach yoga here, we teach community, so we try to draw from many of the different arts. Yeah. So we have students that will come and hang their art here and have art shows. So yeah, we try to participate with SFA as much as possible. I'm involved with many of their health fairs and that kind of thing. The community is very supportive. We have a really loving yoga community here. I've witnessed people become stronger and stronger and more aware of their bodies and creating better relationships with one another. And it's just been a really lovely experience.
Welcome back to JackTalk. I'm Megan Chase. And I'm Kaylee Holdridge. We're here with yoga instructor Ari Tucker. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
So how did you get involved with Morning Glory?
Well, I got involved by, I went to SFA and I had this really stressful semester, one semester, and I was like, I'm just going to take this yoga class. I'm going to take 2 full hours of yoga. And I did it, and then I just kept doing it, and it was great. And I started going to the studio downtown, and it's just such a wonderful community, and such a healing practice, and it's all of these wonderful things, and it's fun, and there's great people, and I found like a great passion here.
Yeah, great. Well, who in age group, can anyone do yoga? How does that work?
Anyone can do yoga. That's the beauty of it, is that it uses your own body weight and your own body mechanics, so it doesn't matter what you look like, if you have injuries, then you just have to learn how to modify it. That's why having a qualified instructor is really important, so that you don't accidentally hurt yourself because this tall, skinny, bendy person can do something. Doesn't necessarily mean you can. And just because some people can do 5 push-ups in a row doesn't mean you can.
Yeah, exactly. Well, do you want to show us some yoga moves that we
get
can
on in?
Sure, let's do it. So we'll begin with a little bit of a warm-up, I guess. So starting at the top of your mats, finding your feet underneath you, coming first into mountain pose. So this is just standing tall, great posture, hands down by your side. Then look down at your toes and see if you can pick them up, spread them really wide, and place them back down. Yeah, it's harder than it looks.
I know, I spread my fingers instead.
Spreading your fingers is another important part, keeping your hands and feet active. That'll keep you really mindful of everything that you're doing, because you don't do that all the time.
Okay.
So it's a great reminder for yoga practice. And then we'll start by taking a big breath in, reaching your arms wide beside you and up overhead. And then as you exhale, folding forward, bringing your arms down, folding from the waist, letting your head slide down to the floor. Or reach for the floor.
So should everyone warm up like this before doing a yoga practice?
Any kind of warm-up. This is a great way to start a warm-up in the sun salutation.
Okay.
So let's starting that again.
Okay.
Inhaling, arms wide and up overhead. Exhaling, folding forward. Then taking a breath in and coming up halfway, so reaching your chest forward, looking forward even a little. Then exhaling down. Then inhaling, coming back to standing. Arms overhead, coming all the way up. Then exhaling, bringing your hands down.
So you're breathing a lot. Is that something that's important with yoga and everything?
Yes, it's really important to match your movements with the breath so that it's like a constant reminder. It's hard to get bored whenever you're doing these kind of weird movements that you don't normally do every day.
Exactly.
And then thinking about your breath, something else you don't do all the time. So it helps you be more mindful, and that mindfulness is what brings a lot of the benefits of yoga, like stress reduction, strength, agility, flexibility.
Can you just walk us through sun salutation?
Yeah, I'll walk you through the entire sun salutation next. Okay. So I'll call out with the breath and some gentle cues, but not a whole lot. We'll be moving kind of quickly. You're moving with your breath.
Yes.
So taking a big breath in, bringing your arms out beside you and up. Exhaling, folding forward, coming into your forward fold. Taking a breath in, coming up halfway. Then exhaling down, planting your hands on the ground, stepping back, one foot, then the other to a plank pose. Shoulders right over your wrists. Then finishing that exhale, lowering all the way down to your mat. Good. Then taking a big breath in, lifting your chest, puffing up, looking forward, coming up into your cobra pose, great. Then exhaling, lifting your hips, coming back into downward facing dog. So an upside down V shape, great. And taking 2 or 3 breaths here, letting your neck relax, your hips float up towards the sky, and your heels move down towards the mat. And you can have your knees bent here if you're a little flexibility challenged. Then coming back to the top of your mat, taking a breath in, stepping forward, coming up halfway, then exhaling back down, then inhaling, coming all the way back up. Yeah.
That would be a normal sun salutation.
That would
you
be
can
a
go through as many as you want?
Yes, I would say 2 to 3 times before any other postures you want to go through.
That is awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. I think that's all the time we have. But I just wanted to, can you tell us where the studio is downtown?
Well, it's downtown. I think the address is 207 Main Street, so it's right on Main Street, right across the street from the Visitors Bureau.
Okay, awesome. Again, thank you so much for coming in. And finish with Namaste. And we'll see you guys next week for another episode of JackTalk. So now we're just going to kind of talk like this.
Okay, this is so funny, right? Yeah.